Good evening and welcome to the Shaftsbury School Board Directors Meeting at 6:30. And we will begin with the Science Fair Projects presentation.
So we refer to Kathy Clark. She's our fifth grade teacher. She was the organizer of the fifth grade science fair this year.
I just have some handouts of what I do, what kids get in my class to follow the scientific method, and the standards for fifth grade. You can read it at your leisure. Everybody take one and pass it around. What we did in science, I started it in December. I handed out a packet for parents and for students, just the guidelines with their expectations, what is expected at home, what's to be expected in the classroom, due dates for the next 3 months, and just things like that, so I know what's up and coming. I usually give it to them in December before we go for break, because some people like to start on in December. We actually don't start till January, and then we just had the fair the end of March. One of my students here is Sean McDonald, and he's come to present his board. Another student, Emily Gates, who has a fever, cannot present, was supposed to present. I'm going to present her board. Okay? I'll go first, Sean. They all worked on these for the last 3 months. We use Google Docs to do our charts and our graphs and typing up the materials. They all had to start out with a question, as you can see from the paper there. Emily's question was, I want to find out what diaper brand absorbs the best. Her hypothesis, and they have to follow an if, then, and because. If I put the different diaper brands in water, the most expensive brand will absorb the best because the diaper will have the most quality and be the most durable. So that's her prediction. The material she used is one expensive diaper, one non-expensive diaper, one fairly priced diaper, a cup of water for each diaper, and some labels. Her observations is in a chart format. Basically what she found out, these are her visual displays of the different diapers in their water. She weighed them before and after with the water. She actually found out, and sometimes their predictions don't always follow their observations, which is fine, it's all part of learning. The expensive diaper gained 0.3 grams. The fairly priced diaper gained 0.5 grams, and the non-expensive diaper also gained 0.5 grams. You can see she made an analysis chart to show you her observations in the orange. They also have procedure steps they need to follow. First, gathering materials, labeling cups, filling cups with water, put a diaper in each, leave for 5 minutes, measure how much water is in the diaper after weighing it, after waiting 5 minutes. She has a diagram here, and what they have to do is draw and label scientifically, and she has her diaper, her water, her beaker here, and her diagram. Then in their conclusion, they need to type up about 10 to 12 sentences about what they learned. I learned that the diaper that cost the least amount of money and the fairly priced diaper absorbed the most water. It happened this way because in diapers there's a polymer called sodium polycrate, and it's a gel. So the fairly priced diaper and the non-expensive diaper had the most sodium polycrate. My prediction was that the expensive diaper would absorb the most water. I observed the fairly priced diaper and the non-expensive diaper absorbed the same amount of water. They absorbed more than the expensive diaper. My results did not support my hypothesis. A problem I had was the diaper did not stay down, so we had to keep pushing them down. And then over here with application is how they can use this information in the real world. A new question I could investigate is what type of liquids will the same type of diaper absorb? To follow through with this question, I should do the exact same thing as I did for my first experiment, but instead use 3 different liquids. For example, I could use milk, juice, and vinegar, and put the same brand of diaper in each liquid. What I learned relates to the real world because mothers who have babies will most likely want the best diaper for their children. The people who make the diapers will want to know if their diapers are best or worse than other diaper companies. Recommendations for next time would be, I would put napkins or paper towels down before I start the experiment. Also, do the experiment closer to the timer so you can be exact as possible. And what they did is they all presented them on these boards to the class, and we had a night where families and community members came and looked at the work that they worked on for the last 3 months. And Sean also did one. You want to stand up, sweetie? Yeah, whatever is easier for you to read. And he followed the same exact format like everybody else in the class, but a different project.
Project I did was soil erosion. My question was, what will happen to the water as it runs through the grass and soil, dead leaves and sticks, and just plain soil? My hypothesis was, if I run water through soil with plants and soil with dead leaves and sticks, then I think the water will run out the cleanest with grass because the roots will keep the water clean. Materials: soil, 3 big plastic water bottles, dead leaves and sticks, plants or grass seeds, 3 bottoms of small water bottles, water and knife. Procedure: gather materials, cut water bottles in half, put soil in each bottle, put dead leaves and sticks in one bottle, put plant or grass seeds in one bottle, put bottoms of small bottles on the cap of the big bottles, pour water into the bottles, see which water comes out the cleanest to drink. My observations: with the soil, the water came out pretty dirty. With the dead leaves and sticks, the water came out cleaner than the soil. With the grass didn't grow. The water came out the cleanest, but with some soil. My conclusion was, I learned that with just plain soil, the water comes out really dirty. With debris and soil, the water comes out cleaner but still dirty. With grass and soil, the water comes out the cleanest. It happened this way because with the soil, there is nothing to help hold the soil in the bottle. With the debris and soil, the debris helped hold some of the soil from getting in the water. With the grass and soil, the roots of the grass helped hold a lot of the soil from getting in the water. My prediction was that each bottle would expel the same amount of water. I also thought that the water was going to be completely clean for the grass bottle. I observed that the grass let 1 cup of water out, which was the cleanest. The soil let 1/2 cups of water out, which was the dirtiest. The debris let the same amount of water out as the soil. My results did support my hypothesis because the grass came out the least amount with 1 cup. The soil and the debris came the same amount with 1/2 cups of water. Some problems or flaws that happened or could have happened was the grass might not have grown. Also, maybe you couldn't find any soil, so that the project wouldn't work. Application. A new question that I could ask is, what would happen if I mixed 2 different types of soil? Instead of using debris, what would happen if I used paper? To follow through with this question, I should at least try this experiment once or twice to see what happens or if the same thing happens. I would follow the same steps by putting the soil in the plastic bottles and pour a cup of water through it. What I learned relates to the real world because planting plants helps keep the water clean because the roots help hold the soil stay grounded, and if there is a lot of rain, there will not be any mudslides if roots hold in the soil. Some recommendations for next time is I would plant the grass a lot sooner so I don't have to wait that long to do the experiment. I waited too long for the grass to grow.
Very good, Sean. Nice job. And then he has his setup here also, where he has his grass and he poured water through it, and you can see how the water came out, then just the soil, and then the mixture of debris that he had. Are there any questions?
Sean? Is
Yeah.
that his name?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. What made you pick that project?
I thought it would be cool to do.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, in your packet, board members, you have the Shaftsbury School District Code of Ethics. I take it that everybody's read it, and I would assume that we want to have one form that, and I don't know if we have one form here that we're going to, just one, okay. And we could all look at that and sign it, please.
I just need to change my last name.
Okay,
It's missing D,
sure.
so
All
I'll
right.
add it.
Let you guys do that. Okay. And we will move right into citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments? Mr. Scoggins.
Yes, the last time I was here, I pointed out that the board in their FY17 budget had funded what happens every year is a trip to Montpelier that the 6th grade takes, an educational trip to observe the legislature in action. And this year, for this year's class, that funding, that was not funded, and the parents have been fundraising for that. And I think, and the board, by its actions on its FY17 budget, I believe, also believes that this is an educational field trip. It should be paid for by the school. What's not paid for is the bus trip up there, and the parents have been trying to fundraise for that. The last time I was here, I was asked to provide a list of fundraising activities that parents have been doing this year for a variety of things that the 6th grade does fundraising for. And those things include the McDonald's night back in September that also included a 50-50 raffle. There was a fall dance that we put on in October, a bottle drive in December. Somebody donated a bed and we raffled that off in December as well. In March, there was an Election Day bake sale. Also at the bake sale, there is the students provided meals for the poll workers that day that were the poll workers to help them out. And then the big one being the spaghetti dinner that happened just a while ago. I would also mention that a couple of things that this class normally, or I guess every other class, gets to fundraise in November when we have an election in November. In 2015, there was not an election, so that bake sale at the polls didn't happen. And also, we typically fundraise with the car smash at the Halloween event here at the school, but that didn't happen this year because there were not enough volunteers to make the hayride happen. And I would remind you that this is the class that last year did fundraised all year to get their class to Nature's Classroom, something that the board again recognized the value of and budgeted for in FY17. So I would ask that the board, as a courtesy and as a recognition that this is an educational thing, that it really is the board's responsibility to pay for, fund the bus trip to the educational trip in Montpelier.
And so you're saying that the funding of the bus trip is $1,000? Is that what you're saying, or is that?
Yeah.
It's $1,000.
900 to 1,000.
Yes.
I just have a couple of questions. It's commendable what you've done in fundraising, but where's I received your email from, where is the accounting for what you have that's come in?
The budget for what the money is being spent on?
Well, we have a policy, 5200, and I'm wondering, I guess for me, it's a budgetary oversight in how things are handled. So I'm wondering what has come in all your efforts.
Are you asking the amount of money?
Well,
Amount of monies, or-
it's
Well, I can tell you what we have planned. The 6th grade trip, which is one of the big things that they fundraise for every year. A lot of kids go to New York. This class chose to go to Howe Cavern, which is going to cost $26.60 for the trip, I guess, for the entrance and the people into the cavern, and then $800 for that bus. The Montpelier trip, if we have to pay for that, that's $1,000. The yearbook, they put together a yearbook for the kids with pictures and some of their artwork and their writings. That's $600. The graduation, which is typically includes a $50 gift card for each student, is going to be about $2,000. And then there's something they call the fun day, where they just take a day out from school and go do something like bowling or something like that. That's projected to be $700.
what they do also is whatever money's left over, they usually try to do a gift to the school too. So there definitely are a lot of things that the sixth grade do have to fundraise for, and they always do a good job with it. I've been sixth grade forever until this year, and the Montpelier trip, and I'm gonna be honest with you, has been a trip that we have had to not do because of funds, which is really sad because it is one of the best trips and the kids do get a lot out of it. And considering we only have to pay for the bus and a couple hundred for the food, it's not too bad. And it is definitely all 100% educational to learn about the government.
Yeah, I should also mention, in addition to a gift to the school, it's traditional for the sixth grade to leave some money as startup funds for the fifth grade to get their fundraising kick-started, so they can, you know, buy a 50/50 raffle or bake sale stuff or things like that.
Just quick question here, and you know, it's impressive that Tim has all this information on the fundraisers, but I don't understand why the board is asking him for the list of fundraisers when the policy that you referred to there, Holly, 5200, requires the principal to approve all fundraisers in the school and maintain a log of them in the office. So shouldn't you have had that readily accessible?
We have a record of all the fundraisers that they have done in our activities account.
And all the
You
accounting.
have, well, I
Yeah,
actually
they're
asked
all
for,
accounted for.
I actually asked for the record recently that is supposed to be kept on file in the offices, and it's not. It wasn't there.
Okay. Well,
So-
we'll just check into that anyway. I guess what are you all set, Holly, or no? Jeff or anybody, Ed?
When is the trip? Just
May 6th.
May 6th.
so okay.
Before your next meeting.
Yeah, before my next minute, that's what I was looking for.
Okay.
Can I just ask, Fran,
Sure, Dave.
if the board, well, so if we were to say, yes, we can cover the costs, we would need to find the money and transfer it from another account, and somebody,
Well, that's what I was gonna get to
Okay.
with Jeff.
okay, so I'll hold off on that then. If the board decides not to, what other ramifications do you need to go back and do some more fundraising? Will you be going to parents and asking them to help cover the costs, or is there
No,
money in an account
No,
that?
we do have money to cover the trip. What it cuts into is those extras that Kathy and I alluded to, the gift to the school that the kids want to do, and what we can leave to the next class. But we'll still be able to make the trip.
I'm just trying to, we as Board of Trustees are accountable to budgetary matters and it's commendable, I know that I've been there fundraising, probably with Mrs. Clark. I'm just, three of us were at a recent meeting, and there were some suggestions from the auditor concerning these funds. I just want to know that what we have, what has come in, what's just being dispersed.
We have records of all of that. We have an activities account that has all our activities in it, and it's all broken down by either sixth grade, fourth grade, music department, all different accounts we have, and we have accounting on all of those accounts. What's going in, what's going out, what it's going for. We can't take any money out without receipts. We deposit all the money from the fundraisers into those accounts.
Mr. Kinney?
Yes.
You probably have the most, the widest institutional memory on this class trip to
I
Montpelier.
don't know about that, but go ahead.
You've been on the board practically
I've been
forever.
to Montpelier before and stayed overnight, so.
Am I wrong? I think that the school system has paid for that trip for the kids forever. I mean, can you fill me in on how many years this has been?
I can speak a little bit of this.
Go ahead.
I used to be a fifth and sixth grade teacher at Valley Stark years ago, and it used to be funded by Tim Corcoran.
I'm talking about Shaftsbury's trip.
Okay. I'm not sure if Tim Corcoran helped out with Shaftsbury or not. but it was-
Usually,
that
it
went away.
used to be
No votes.
Dr. Shea used to get that monies for us to go to Montpelier. And he did that for the longest time, and then I don't know if Alice Miller was involved in that or not. I have no idea. I'd have to ask.
Miller's done in the past is she's donated like a couple $100 towards
There-
the trip.
there you go.
When we were at the
So,
firehouse voting is what
yeah.
she's done. I don't
Yeah.
know if she was there this year or not.
Now, what I was gonna get to is, I was wanting to get with Jeff, and I mean, we do have some monies here. We got the Tilgner fund, we have the KIP money fund, but I don't think But anyway, I don't know if we can use it, but I just wanted to talk to Jeff and make sure of what funds we do have and go from there, but anybody else?
I would just say in principle, I think this is something that should be funded.
Right.
As was pointed out, we have essentially agreed by saying next year, we funded it in the budget. From a practical standpoint, if we provide $1,000 or whatever the cost is, it's going to offset money that is going to come back to the school in the form of a gift, or some of it will. So for whatever that's worth, I'd be inclined to, if we can find the money in another account that was over budgeted, I'd be inclined to say yes.
And my suggestion would be that whatever motion makes should be to pay the bus, the cost of the bus, not $1,000 transfer to the activity fund, but because the finance office is going to want an invoice, so provide the invoice for the bus cost, and then the board could pay that.
Excuse me, is the $1,000 an estimate from the bus company?
That's traditionally what it's been between $900 and $1,000 the last few years. And we can transfer the money into this our field trip account if we fund it in another account.
Yeah.
The money right there for the invoice.
Okay.
To make the
So I
motion
need
to
a-
pay the cost of the bus, whatever that invoice is out to be.
Yeah,
You
so
gonna
moved
make-
to
Okay.
pay the cost of the
Jeff,
bus.
you're gonna second? Okay, any more discussion on that? All in favor of that motion?
I'm abstaining.
One abstention, okay. All right, that's done.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? And
Yeah, I have a
Mr.
question
Foley.
about, I know it's been brought up before about protocol. I know there was an incident dating back to the mid-January of a child complaining about being touched by an adult in school. And I want to make sure that there's a protocol, not a review of protocol. Mandated reporter laws are pretty clear. The state, I don't know if, and anyone here can disagree with me, and I'd love to hear it, but it's pretty clear that state investigators that investigate this recommend mandated reporters report. You don't do investigations. There's subjectivity involved, and the training to actually do an investigation is done by DCF. DCF does investigations. And I want to make sure that from now on, and this goes right across SVSU, that there's something in writing at the head of our page of us about bullying. If we're going to go far enough to discuss bullying, there should be a zero tolerance. I don't honestly trust anyone here to do an investigation. No one here is trained, as far as I know, to do an investigation. I know state police are, and I know there's a detective in town that does, and that's Tony Silvestro. You've got 2 investigators with the Department of Ed. They do investigations. Karen Shea with the DCF. Any article you read, they are quoted as, "You are better safe than sorry." You do not do investigations. And I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Well, just so you
And I want to know where we're going with that.
Yeah, well, just so you know, I've been talking with the superintendent, and we're gonna get together, and we're gonna have a solution for it, and make sure that everything is kosher, so. But I can't talk to you about it right now, but this is in the works, so that's where
Again,
we're.
I don't see the discussion taking place that would need more than 5 minutes.
Oh,
If you look at anything that DCF puts out,
Mhm.
it's just better safe than sorry. You can call either state investigator. In the end, failure to report, the whole town can end up in trouble. We'll all end up paying some legal bill.
Yeah.
I say from now on, if you don't know, but guess what? I think there's plenty of people in this room who don't know. You don't know. You're already saying you don't know what to do. I've heard, well, there'll be reviews of, there shouldn't be, you call. That's it. And if someone here wants to talk about it and say, hey, I disagree with you, there's plenty of instances where maybe some child's bottom gets touched and we don't have to report that.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and again,
Or maybe you're too busy, or it happens a lot, and we can't keep track of all of
no,
it, so.
I don't
just so
think
you know
that,
where I
Mike.
stand.
No,
I'm not-
I get you, I
Right.
get you, Mike. But I will be meeting with the superintendent. It's kind of getting tough to get together, because he's busy and I am busy, but that's okay, but we will. And it's on the very near future docket, so.
Because I think that should be on, an item on the agenda,
It probably will for
where people
next
can
month.
come in and discuss what they expect.
Mhm.
Because it's an adult discussion.
We'll check our, again, we'll have to check the policy, and I've conversed with the superintendent, and we will pay attention to that, so it will happen. Yes, sir.
In various parts of my career, when I had many people in my charge in the retail environment, corporate America today is obviously very sensitive to these types of issues, and the training that was necessary was pretty extensive. And I was responsible for adults. These are children. So, is there any training protocol? Do the teachers and administrators go through any type of training for what to do in a given situation? I also know that how you pursue it the law is very specific. I mean, it's very, how this needs to be pursued and how it needs to be handled, and especially when children are involved. So, unfortunately, the reality is it will happen from time to time. So, and it's a horrible position to be in. It's a horrible, I found myself in, it's a terrible position of responsibility. So, but it is a responsibility. And when children are involved, they're true victims, because they had no part in it. So, it just seems like people in charge of children, if I'm leaving my children in someone's care, I would like to know that there is some modicum of or some level of threshold of training, and that is required to be in charge of
There's
children.
yearly training.
Yeah, actually, Act 1, state law, Act 1, we're required to train all staff, offer a parent night, which we did this year, and we actually have Act 1 training / education of children also, so they can identify and know about boundaries and stuff. So it's a state law, we do through that every year.
Is there a written protocol of what to do when a child mentions any one of, certain words or phrases? I mean, is there a protocol that you go through?
Yep.
That every adult administrator knows?
Yeah, it is. That's the Act 1 training is. It's this is what you look for. This is what's the questions you ask. If you have a concern, you call DCF. But yeah, it's that whole Act 1 training. And if you looked up the Act 1 law and online, you can see what it's all about. And we do have a parent night. Like I said, we did offer a parent night about that also.
Is there anything in the first 2 or 3 steps that says any incident, regardless of how slight, that resulted in 2 adults having a conversation in the school? Does anything say that once adults confer about something, the parent should be notified? I mean, at what point does that conversation?
I believe there's something in our policy that says in the children's best interest, or we contact the parents and we wait until the children's best interest. I believe that's what it says in the policy. But I do contact the parents, yes, but there's no specifics as far as I can recall in our policy itself. I can't
If it's
speak to
important enough to be discussed between 2 adults here, I'm thinking it's something the parent should be made aware of immediately. And I'm wondering if it actually says that in writing, and if there's any, that just seems to be parental involvement doesn't seem to be something that should be left to interpretation. It seems like that should be a part of the
One
written.
thing I would point out is if it's a parent touching a child, that policy would make it very awkward, because if the kid came and said, my dad's touching me, policy says we gotta call mom and dad.
Yeah.
So, in that point, it's not a good outcome for the
Again,
kid.
does your training make that differentiation? Because you and me talking, I'm smiling, I mean, that sounds like common
No.
sense to me.
I mean,
But is
maybe
that
you
is that
record it.
actually written out? Because again, you don't, we can't afford to have mistakes made.
And the interest is the best interest of the child.
Right.
So
If the adult in question is one of the child's parents, obviously you can't report that.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, I mean,
there needs to be protocol B
Yeah.
for that. I mean,
Yeah.
that needs to have its own specific.
So, I mean, I think Brian's right, we should take a good look at that policy.
Yep. Yeah, which we're gonna do, so.
Policies are living documents that every time we have an incident, we review what happened and what needs to be changed, because, policies are, actually, the way they're written are pretty brief, and then so what we're really talking about is the administrative regulations that then get written off of that policy, which would be that protocol. So you wouldn't necessarily find a protocol in a policy, but the policy would guide the writing of any procedures or protocol. And that's what, as with that incident or any other incident, we review and make changes. And that's what I mean by a living document.
Right.
It's always in flux, it's always changing based on what's the most recent event.
Does every adult in this school at least know which person in this building is the point I mean,
Yes.
this needs to go directly to this person and no one else? I mean,
Well, everybody's a mandated reporter, and anybody can report anytime, but it is.
everyone's a reporter, but there should be only one channel that flows through, whether it be you as.
Well, that's
Well,
not
they-
what the law
that's
says.
not what the law
Yeah.
says.
Because
Anybody
we
can-
can't put an impediment
Yeah.
into, if a teacher wants to report, they're not mandated to report to
You mean
him.
directly outside?
Right, they could go directly to DCI.
I do ask my staff to let me know if they plan on reporting or any incidents, so I'm aware of it, but it's their choice, or I tell them to if I, to report.
Whether
But
that person is in the building or not, they all know what that phone number is and who that
Yes.
person
Right.
is.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the protocol goes further that we'll put in place, that if it involves a staff member or anything like that, then the principal has to report that to the superintendent. So I don't necessarily get a report every time it's a DCF
Right.
report.
Billy?
I'm a little bit concerned about what I'm hearing here, just from the standpoint that I'm hearing a lot of, we have the training, everybody knows the numbers, all the information's out there, but from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the correct process wasn't followed. So as a parent, I'm very, very concerned about that, and the fact that you're gonna relook at protocol doesn't really comfort me on that piece of it, because it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, everybody knows the law, everybody knows who to contact, but that didn't happen. So I'm not sure how more training is gonna.
I don't want to get into the details of what happened in this in a public meeting. I think there's question on, you're going to get different opinions on whether protocol was performed accordingly and whether the process happened. I believe that it has, but I'm not going to go, I can't go into specific details in a public meeting.
So rather than debate something subjective that we can't, I'd like to bring an objective issue to the board. I do have a concern about whether or not you're following open meeting law. And I want to just address this with you because I think it's probably an oversight. I mean, it could look like you were trying to pull the wool over this incident, but I think it's probably just an oversight. So I would just like to quote that according to VSA 1 VSA 313, if you go into executive session, there are 12 acceptable reasons to go into executive session. 6 of them require 2 motions. 6 of them require only 1 motion. At the February meeting, you went into executive session for a little over an hour and a half with 1 motion, so I'm going to assume that it's one of the first 6. You went in for personnel reasons. Personnel reasons is not one of the acceptable reasons. There are two reasons you can go in that relate to personnel reasons. One is the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee. And the other one is a disciplinary or dismissal action against a public officer or employee. And the Vermont City of Leagues and Towns also encourages you not only to make your motion in accordance with that law as you're required to, but to provide any additional information that you can without compromising the issue at hand. So that clearly did not happen at the February meeting, and I would like to ask the board to amend the February minutes to reflect why you went into executive session that day.
I will look at that one, but I can't do it right now. I mean, I want to look and see exactly what we did, so, but I will do that, but.
we can refer it to legal counsel.
Exactly, yeah, and there's been a lot, as you've read in the paper, between executive sessions and legalities and everything, so we're well
And
aware.
it's challenges we're having with every board
Oh,
to
yeah.
make sure that
Yeah,
they are
and it's-
following the process
Right.
and announcing exactly
And
as
we're trying to do
say
that,
what you're going into executive session. You're right. It's very limited.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah, it
need all board chairs are being made
Yeah.
aware that they need to be explicit on meeting those 6 for why they're going into executive session.
Okay.
Would it be fair to expect a response to that at the next meeting?
I could, yes, yeah,
Okay.
that should be okay. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to speak to the bullying issue at Shaftsbury Elementary. I prepared a letter to you guys. I'd like to read that letter to you, if I could.
Okay.
This is my husband, Sean, over here. As parents, we take our children to school. It has been a real struggle for us at times because our son has been very difficult to get out of the car recently. He has told me that he did not want to go to school at all because he didn't want to get picked on, bullied, slapped, kicked, stomped on, have his pants pulled down, or spoken to with some really bad language. Our son recently has stopped looking at people in their eyes, and he is being bullied day in and day out, and my son has gone from being a shy, quiet boy who loves to read and go to school to one who really does not want to go to school at all. I think this is a shame, and it breaks my heart. We have tried many methods of dealing with this. We have taken Taekwondo classes, we have written in journals, but as parents, there's only so much that we can control. To be clear, we have no qualms with any of our son's teachers, nor our daughter's teachers. All the teachers have been wonderful and have done their very best. We place all the blame solely on the administration. In our opinion, they have done too little, too late. Many incidents have occurred throughout the past couple of years to both of our children, many of which I have forwarded to Fran here. However, the act that tipped the scales was one which happened in the cafeteria on the 28th of March. During this incident, Mr. Johnson was functioning as the class's para. It was brought to his attention twice, and he did nothing. This was on Monday. On Tuesday, nothing was done. So I emailed the classroom teacher, and she told me that she had to talk to Mr. Johnson. The following Wednesday, I received an email from Mr. Johnson. On Thursday, my son actually talked to Mr. Johnson, and then he received a note from the bully, and everything was fine, supposedly. However, the bully is not allowed to come within a certain distance to my son by the teachers, the paras. These actions that were done were completed not only in a very untimely manner, but were very contradictory. Tomorrow we are going to pull both of our children out of Shaftsbury as we begin to attend Sacred Heart in Bennington. We do pay taxes in the Shaftsbury school system, however, and we are willing to spend more money to pay a private school tuition to ensure the safety of our children and the respectful climate which they will need to move forward with their learning. So, thank you.
Jeff?
Sorry to see your kids leave. Everything in that letter is not accurate as far as some of the pieces, but I don't think it's time to place it into that.
No, I don't.
But I do take bullying very seriously. I have investigated. I've had reached out to you to ask for a meeting. You declined. I've emailed you on 2 occasions, and you did not reply my email on what I had chosen to do as a consequence, and you did not email me back. You only emailed the teachers to let them know what was going on.
Okay.
Do you have your letter that can,
Yeah, could
because
we-
Rich is gonna want a copy of it.
Okay.
I'd just like to,
Excuse me,
go ahead.
can I ask Fran that
Sure.
the lady who just read that letter identify herself?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're Right, I forgot. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm a little unclear. It seems like there are protocols, there are,
Can you state your name again?
I'm Michael Biddy.
I knew it was Mike, I didn't grab the last
Right.
name. Sorry, go ahead.
It seems there are protocols, there are procedures that are not being followed in every case when somebody is being treated poorly in the school, children. And I'm concerned as a citizen of this community that our school is losing a sterling reputation that caused a whole lot of people to move to our community. But I'm curious. It seems like I'm trying to avoid saying something, so I'm gonna try hard here. Just bear with me. People are more concerned about that are in charge of this school keeping a good facade, and I'm concerned that people are making judgments about whether they got to do something about this, and with the reputation of the school, you know, front and center, that the children should be front and center, not the reputation of the school. And when is a child's accusation of improper behavior on the part of an adult in the school discounted? Why is it not automatically reported up through DCF or whatever the Division of Child Welfare is? Why is that not automatically? Why is the child not credible? And why are some things treated differently? You know, if there's nothing going on, there's nothing going on, and that should be clear after the mandated reporter reports this. But am I right or am I wrong that a child's accusation is credible, is considered credible? Tell me that.
If a child has an actual accusation, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We think that I've called DCF on a number of times, Mike. A number of times. It's not something that
But in some cases you don't. In some cases you talk to the child instead.
I talk to the child every time,
Right, the child reports it.
not all the time.
Okay. But if the child, I mean, this is children reporting, not like adults learning.
I don't think you have all the details of this particular case, and we don't want to talk a specific case.
Yeah, I don't want to,
There's too many other names involved.
yeah, don't take this the wrong way.
How it works, their mandated report is when they have reasonable suspicion, that's how the law reads, reasonable suspicion of neglect or abuse. That's what they're mandated to report.
Now, a
And
child,
I-
excuse me, but a child reporting an improper touch is not reasonable suspicion? Is that what you're saying?
If a child reported that, yes.
Okay. That's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to just say one quick sentence on that. This is just in an article. It's everywhere. This is from a Vermont State Police detective who says, just as in an article about something that happened in Caledonia. First of all, I don't know why the school would be doing their own investigation. They had a student come forward and told them they were touched. Their obligation is to pick up the phone and call DCF. DCF, Karen Shea, says, our staff is trained in the dynamics of child abuse. She cannot comment on specific cases, but it's clear that mandatory reporters, even in unsubstantiated allegations, it's enough to trigger a call to DCF. The obligation is to call when they have any suspicion of abuse to a child, and that threshold is set at a low level to make sure that kids are protected. She also involved the DCF being involved quickly protects teachers and administrators from accusations of bias. For everyone's protection, for everyone's protection, even the accused, the child's protection, also the accused, it's worthwhile to have an impartial look at things. Better safe than sorry. So to me, for anybody to have to review a protocol, when a child comes forward and says, I don't feel comfortable because my bottom was touched, that means you pick up the phone and call. You don't break out a notebook and start deciding you're going to start doing an investigation. So that to me is a threshold.
We agree.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that should end it. And so why we're going, I think this thing should be on a fast track.
Well,
for the
and
kids' safety.
Yeah, and it's gonna be, Mike, I've had that conversation with you before. We will have something for you, for everybody at the May meeting.
Right.
And I wanna make sure, I wanna look at these things, a lot of these things I haven't, and some of these things I can't be, privy to. I mean, it's personnel issues and everything like that,
Well,
so.
we know what happened 3 months ago,
Okay,
so we're waiting.
okay,
There are parents waiting.
I got you, okay. Last
I'd
comment.
just like to really quick respond to Nicole's comment. I know how tough it is to make a statement like that publicly, and I'm really upset by the fact that the authenticity of the statement and the accuracy was questioned. I would like to say from my own experience with my own kids in this school, the behavior that she described is not abnormal at all. I have, after a year of my daughter being told to stop telling when she was hit and shoved and had her seat kicked out from under her and all that kind of stuff, I have heard the same thing from Jeff about how he takes bullying seriously, and to have my kids talk to him, and then only to the first time they talk to him, have him say, you really should be telling your teacher, not me. So the behavior that Nicole is describing is not abnormal for this school.
Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. And we will now move on to the action items, the financial, I'm sorry, Holly?
I was expecting Mr. Della Rocca to be here because he brought the bullying up last month.
Okay.
I think it's appropriate now, as it's a policy. First, thank you to the school. They put a docket in on this matter. And it does start the protocol.
Yeah.
But I think it needs to be, have a link to the policy, the correct policy.
Is that something you're gonna bring to the policy committee meeting? Which is, no, I'm just asking.
I'm no longer Mr. Malloy.
Well, are you
This
gonna, is
is
that
just-
something you're gonna give to Mr. Malloy? That's my question.
We in Shaftsbury have our own website. And that's, and on it, you put a tab that, how to report the bullying, and thank you.
Yep.
That was,
Yep.
it had the 2 names.
Yep.
But hearing this tonight, I would like to see it, recommend, suggest that it links to the correct policy, 5004.
The names that, for the report, link to
Where
the policy?
I had done this, Mr. De La Rocca was, he talked to me last week.
Yeah.
This is your webpage.
Yes.
And it has the names,
Okay.
which is correct. But you also need to have a link to the SBSU-wide
Okay.
policy, because what is on the website goes to the handbook, and it references 5002, 5003, and 5008, and they're no longer, they've been replaced by this. This replaces those. So
Can I
it'd
see
be,
that after?
sure.
Okay.
It would be helpful, I think, moving forward,
Sure.
so that you don't have some of the bumps.
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay. All set, Holly?
I am. I
Okay,
just
all
was
right,
gonna
no,
give it to Mr.
didn't wanna
but-
cut you off.
I can give it to you tomorrow if you like.
Say
Oh,
say on the policy number on there. That is protocol.
it needs to have reference to the link, so that the
Okay.
parent, if and when, or
So when they click on it, goes the SBSU.
it goes
site.
right to it, it tells you the proper, but the one thing that I think I'm hearing is what I've asked, I've tried to, our own process, your own administrative, what your procedure is, should be available there too.
What's the policy number?
The bullying policy,
Yeah, what is it?
5004.
Thank you.
And the policy itself, in that case, Holly, is quite specific to the process.
Absolutely.
So it's in the policy.
Sitting on,
Okay,
thank you.
all right. All right, we'll go to the treasurer's report. Any comments or questions on the treasurer's?
The new one that we sent.
No superintendent report?
That's gonna be down, Donna's gonna do that, down by the reports.
This is from your vote.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes, that came.
Jim had brought them.
Okay.
Yeah, if you wanna look at that before I just need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make the motion.
All right, Jeff made the motion and, Ed seconded it. Now we have a discussion. What's that?
Yes.
Okay.
I just have a question. You always pointed to this $15,000 number.
Well, that's actually, it should be 5,000, not 15.
I was.
We settled that when we were doing the budget time,
But
because I
it-
noticed that that's not supposed to be 15.
But it still says 15.
Okay,
It's on 5 now.
yeah, so we'll, I just need to amend the
Well,
motion to,
She,
the 96 school bond should be $5,000 and not 15.
I'll make the motion to amend it.
Okay,
5,000.
yeah, it should be $5,000 and not 15. Who made the
Yes,
second? Is that, okay, good, thank you. Okay, all in favor of the treasurer's report? Okay, Holly,
I'm abstaining.
abstention, okay. All right, consent agenda?
Fran,
Yes.
are you going to take any action on the amendments that the treasurer proposed in the cover sheet?
the sense.
The sentence, I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
and that's easy enough to, I mean, I can just throw these into the minute.
Right, you're right. The cash, yeah, I need a motion to approve the cash flow reports. That's January 2016,
Oh,
February.
those are the ones we did last time.
Yes, we did that last time.
These are the amendments.
These
Yes.
are the amendments.
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
All right, that's Ed, and Jeff, you second it,
second it.
okay? All in favor of that motion? Okay, one abstention, okay. Very good, thanks. Okay, now we'll get to the consent agenda. We'll get the minutes. And the warrants. Anything on either? Everybody all set?
No.
Go ahead.
Just a little housekeeping thing. Again, we had some recommendations that three of us were at the board should be aware of. Just in the, we've talked about it month after month after month, about different purchases throughout the school. They need to be like under Jeff, and then in going through Jeff's, because they're supposed to be approved by him and then dispersed through his office. So taking all the loose things. I know they were a science project. There was a refrigerator. Do we have, is it a refrigerator or some? I'm sorry, Mrs. Aiken's class, she.
Page we got in Holly.
Sorry. It would be vendor, 2011. And there's a refrigerator.
What page?
I'm sorry, page number 1. I don't know if it's for fish or for a refrigerator or for a, but it's those type, that one, and Mrs. Clark had all the science things. Tiffany, just, it cleans it up, Elaine, it cleans it up so that we can have a better idea of where the inflows and outflows of the budget.
Well, it says under Kathy's, it says in the next page what she.
Absolutely,
Okay.
and I'm not, those are things needed for the school, but, I've just seen it done differently, and it's much easier to have one, Jeff Johnson, reimbursed for the for whatever, however they do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it says, like for Kathy's, for example, it says right there exactly what she got.
And I have no problem, like, the slip, do the slips not like go to you as the administrator to be,
The receipts.
and then you have principal's cash or kitty account, petty account?
That's not in this. Not in this.
You don't have one in this
No,
school?
I have one, but not in this
Okay.
report.
Well, maybe I
Now it
can,
goes to
It's an activity. You have an activity
the
account.
treasurer
Yeah.
or the CFO.
Yeah.
And it used to be in the CFO's file. You can go there and actually ask to see
Yep.
them.
Yes.
So you can call
With all the receipts.
Here's the warrant with all the receipts, and you can see how much was spent, what
Yep.
is.
I don't know if that- Is that what you wanna see that every month also, or consolidate?
No, it's, I'm not questioning what the money is. The science is a student activity, but it's just, I had hoped that we might, the fundra,
I mean, they've done a better job here, like Fran.
it is coming,
So,
but it's,
Because it used to say
Odyssey and toothbrush.
purchase bought locally or something.
yeah,
so-
that was one I also mentioned, a potty seat, for a,
Well, I mean, probably somebody needed it
special,
for a special ed.
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay, you know, so-
I'll,
Okay. Anybody else? Dave, Jeff? Ed? Okay.
So they did a better job this time.
Okay. All right, so there's a motion, there's a second.
are you
All-
doing it all of it,
No,
or
there's-
just the?
There's one motion.
No, I'll make the
Oh,
motion.
then we need a motion.
Just,
All right, Jeff made the motion.
send it.
Second.
Okay, Dave made the second. Okay, all in favor of the consent agenda? Okay, one abstention?
No,
No, okay, no. All right,
and I'll ask my budget question
Okay.
after. It's okay.
all right. Next up, policies. We have a policy number 1020. It's visits to schools, that's for warning. I need a motion on that in a second.
So moved.
Okay, that's Dave
I'll second.
and Jeff. Discussion.
The second one, the condom availability. I mean, I'm sure Shaftsbury is a little different than the high school since I think we're on 2 males here.
So let's do the visits to the school first.
Oh, visits to the
That's-
school.
yeah,
I thought you were gonna do both of them.
No. I want to do one at a time on these.
Nope, nope.
All right, so everybody set with that?
Visits to the school?
Yes.
Yeah, so Jeff, have you had a chance to look over this is a new policy?
Yeah.
Or, sorry, it's not a new policy, it's a revision to
Revision to it.
existing policy.
Yep.
And I think it highlights, adds board members
Yes.
to
Yeah.
a list of
Yes.
people who should not just show up at school, should be checked in and so forth.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts on that as the building lead here?
I mean, I think it's a good idea that we treat board members like we treat everybody else that walks in the doors, that they
Yeah.
come, they check in, they tell why they're gonna be at the school. If a board member wants to tour the school or whatever, I think it's a good idea for you to call, make sure it's not gonna be a disruption to the day or to the classroom that you wanna visit. So,
Do you have do we have a track record of showing up unannounced and causing trouble or?
not in general, no.
Yeah.
Not in general, no.
This policy has arisen because there has been some problems at the high school, and that's why this policy has been transmitted. So I think part of the problem was there was some board members going into a teacher's class, taking the teacher out of the classroom while class was in session. That shouldn't be permissible or appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate, no matter who it is, and unless it's a principal or something. But that's why this policy has shown up. So, and I don't think we've ever had a problem at Shaftsbury, to my knowledge. I try to stay out of here. I don't want to be in here causing anything, any problems.
I come here enough for you.
I would just mention too, because I'm on the policy committee, I was before with Holly, just that it is to clarify what is the protocol for board members coming into the building, because, and there was a lot of discussion about whether that should be a separate policy or whether it really does fit with the policy for anyone visiting the building, and I think the overall opinion was that everyone should be showing the same courtesy and signing in so that everyone knows who's in the building. It really isn't much different, except that board members should be respectful and follow that protocol in letting everyone know that they're in the building and just signing in as everyone else would. And also because teachers and administrators in the building would feel awkward walking up to a board member, walking around in their building if they didn't know they were there, and to accost them and say, why are you here, would be really not something that anyone would want to face on a daily basis. So it really is just to set the protocol for what everyone should follow when they come into a building. It's a safety issue as well as a respectful protocol for the building.
Yep. Okay.
And the protocol here, just if the parent comes,
Mhm.
the parent is expected to check in at the office.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I just,
Alex?
want a clarification about, in here, I knew that this is what you were gonna add this, but I have in our own, school board book, in my set of instructions, it says, opportunities for the board to view students' work directly should be had. I understand, I don't know if I'm the one that he's referring to, that not necessarily. On page 47.
Oh, I got mine.
Just in, maybe, a suggestion, maybe others don't. I would love to be invited to see, they had a science project night, an extent, we would have the opportunity to see it in action.
Yes.
I know for myself, I haven't, because of, people start to look funny, but I used to come to Monday morning I'll join in and observe the smiling faces of the children. I am an aunt, and I do pickups, but I always sign in. So I just, to me, it's, I understand, and I always sign in when I come. I follow I wouldn't expect to be just let loose in the school.
Well, the expectation's no different.
Absolutely.
Right.
But I would hope that, I know we have Jeff who's a parent, Dave, I don't know if is a parent, but although that's different now too, doors are locked, you don't get to come in, so that's just what I wanted to reference. Because we are supposed to be given opportunities to see the school functioning, to see teachers teach.
You're welcome to call anytime and we can set up
Okay.
a time for you to visit classroom.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other discussion? Remember, this is just for warning, so you can make the next policy meeting and suggest any changes if so you desire. Anyway, okay, so all in favor of this policy? We have a motion and a second, okay. This
I'll warn it.
is unanimous, all right. Thank you, Holly. Okay, next one is policy 5145. It's condom availability. Jeff made the motion, Dave seconded it, discussion.
Just for Shaftsbury, the only thing I'd make sure is, since there are limited males, they at least be accessible as part of the designated faculty and staff. Because it might be a little awkward for a boy to talk to a
Right.
woman.
That was brought up at, I think, MAU or something.
Yeah, I just
So,
heard
yeah,
that too.
no, that's fine.
But I know this is, hopefully he's a little young here. But
Yeah, yeah.
Hope we don't have to have that conversation.
I hope not, but anyway,
Well, this was, whoops,
go ahead.
this was geared more for the high school
Yes.
and
Right,
for
right.
older, I would hope that we didn't, but,
The high school that brought it to attention.
right.
Right, yes.
But there's something that, the next policy, there's a student service health form that can be found, and it says permission. And I don't know how they're gonna go, or how it's gonna go, but I want people in Shaftsbury to be aware that it may not be an option. You may not be asked for permission, so,
Okay.
that's all I'll say.
Again, this is for warning too, Dave.
Mhm.
Yeah, just a note from the conversations that we've been part of at the high school board meetings, and this did come from the high school. The policies are generally written for the entire district, for all the districts.
Yep.
So no change.
The intent is pretty clear to me anyway, that each school, each district will have the opportunity to write its own, make its own decisions within the context of the policy.
Right.
So nothing is being forced here on,
Right.
nothing in the policy would force anything on our school.
No.
That's correct, yep. Okay. All in favor of this policy for warning? Unanimous, okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, next is the facilities. And we have the Janitronics quote. Jeff, do you wanna?
Sure, so, per your request last meeting, we had Janitronics come in and do a walkthrough with Jay and I to see what the, cost would be for them to contract the services of night cleaning here at Shaftsbury. They're here for, I think, 45 minutes. It was, Brian Phelan and, Mr. Davis came and, they walked through, they looked at pretty much all the rooms, kind of the bathrooms, looked at everything that we did throughout the night. They have a formula for everything. So if there's a toilet, they say that's approximately this many minutes. There's a sink this many minutes, a floor mop this many minutes. So they pretty much count up the square footage, how many toilets there are, and different things they got to do, and that's where they come up with their quote is what it would cost to do this. The report is quite lengthy, but a lot of it is about the company itself. If you've read through it already, the highlights for us would be page 14, starting on page 15 actually, which is the specifications of what they would do, both weekly, monthly, and yearly. And then the last one pertains to us with page 60, which is the financials and what the cost would be to Shaftsbury if we chose to contract with them. Through our conversations, one of the things, or a couple of things that we had concerns about is that they would not get on a ladder to clean. They through insurances, their insurance company won't let them, so anything that requires anything above taking the lights down, Fisher, for example, we take those down every summer and clean them. They won't be able to do that. They'll let us take them down and they'll clean them, and then let us put them back up, but they won't go up to do that.
Well, we could have the teachers do that though, right?
Those things.
Just kidding. Jeez.
They wouldn't charge.
Kathy will get right on that.
Yeah, right.
Kids will love it.
All right.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Yep. Dave had a question?
So they wouldn't change the light bulb either?
No.
And-
No,
and
they're strictly cleaning.
Who changes light bulbs now?
Jay. Jay changed the light bulbs.
Just Jay?
Yeah, they would supply the cleaning chemicals, but we'd be responsible for all paper goods, toilet paper, paper towels, garbage bags. We'd be responsible for all of that. They did put it in their quote, $5,500 I think it was for a new mopping machine. Is that what it's called? Scrubber. They weren't sure how ours is about 10 years old. I guess they were concerned about.
Still works good.
Still works good, but they were concerned about it and they want to
Keep it
get another
working.
one. They did want to make a note that during the or on the specifications page it says waxing twice a year. And I think it says winter and spring. I think it actually be winter and summer. They would do it, not winter and spring, for obvious reasons. We would still need to do the carpets. We contract out with a company that does our carpets every summer. They would not be doing that. We would still contract out for that. Did I miss anything, Jay?
No, you pretty well covered.
Yeah, that's through their quotes.
I don't know if you wanna get into the man hours that they.
Yeah, what's not in here, that's a good question. What's not in here is I asked what it would mean for bodies in here. What are the hours, how many bodies it'd be? And he said 2 4-hour workers and 1 5-hour shift leader. So it's up 13 hours a night. We would have somebody in here. Total. I mean, it would be 13 hours across. Be 2 guys for 4 hours and 1 guy for 5 hours. Just Jay until when he's here. Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't be in here 13 hours. They generally come as a group.
That's yeah, but it's 13 hours. But
4 to 5 hours.
But we're charged for 13 hours because there's 3 gentlemen here.
You're charged for manpower per person, not
And that's just to replace Gary. One
Yes.
person?
Yeah.
They want to replace one person with 3?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Well, they want to replace 8 hours with 13 hours? Is
No,
that-
we're Gary's not at 8 hours. He's 6.
He's
Yeah.
6 hours, 13 hours.
And he's only 33 hours a week.
Does it need to be 13 hours to clean this place at night?
Again,
It
that,
would be good because
Would no more be done?
it's hard to get your bathrooms done every night.
yeah.
And your sinks and the stuff that you really should do. It's just, by the time you do everything else and 6 hours, I mean, you're done. Because you're taking out an hour a day now to go down.
So you're saying more is gonna be cleaned then?
Not necessarily.
This is what their formula was and what they came up with, Kath. It wasn't, we told them what needs to be done. This is what they plug into their. He says it's a program. They plug it in,
Yeah.
and this is what comes out.
As opposed to hiring one person,
Yes.
new person.
Yeah, yeah. You would lose a crossing guard in the afternoon. We would have to find somebody and pay somebody to do that. We'd lose the flexibility of having someone, they're gonna come at the end of the day, 3 o'clock to whatever time. They don't come during the middle of the day. So, and they have their hours, 3 to whatever. So if we have an event that goes past when they're gonna be here, we're not gonna have coverage for cleanup or lockout or to check the building at that point, which we do now have that option. If Jay should be out for a day or whatever, I wouldn't have the opportunity to call up Jantronics and say, I need somebody to come in and help me with lunches and come in a little early. They're not gonna do that. They're only gonna come in during their mandatory hours. So we lose a lot of flexibility when it comes to that if we chose to go with Jantronics.
How do we handle it now if Gary or whoever we hired is sick or couldn't come in? Who does the cleaning? And that?
Right now, it's a bit of a struggle. We've tried, since I've been here, we've tried to find somebody consistent, but it's a very inconsistent business. You know, we couldn't get anybody. Right now, I have a para that does our summer work with us, and she's usually pretty flexible, and she'll do some of the work. She'll do something like picking up the garbage and doing a little bit of vacuuming stuff. She doesn't get to everything every night when somebody's out, but she'll do some of the basic stuff.
So, I mean, this is an advantage of having a firm do it, is that you don't have to worry about that. Maybe it's not something that happens often enough that you do have to worry about it very much. And just, that's, right, that would be one argument for.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if Jay's out, you know, I can tell Gary, say, I need you to come in a half hour earlier so you can cover the end of lunches for me. You know,
You couldn't do that with.
I couldn't do that with Jantronics. Yeah, or we have a function tonight, Gary, I need you to stay a little later so that the building's clocked up and cleaned up before you leave.
Do we have an idea of what total compensation would be to fill the vacancy?
So we budgeted, I didn't know Gary was gonna retire before we made the budget this year. And he was not getting insurance, so we budgeted $22,634 for salary. There's no budget for benefits at this time because he wasn't taking benefits at the time, and that was estimated to be. I talked with HR today. That was estimated to be another $25,000 if the person we hire required benefits.
Not another 20. You said another 25.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
family, full family.
For family,
full
yes.
family.
For family, if they chose to get full family ed
If it was a full family
plan.
that we hired, right?
Yeah, then they chose a full
May not-
family plan. They
right.
might choose a single plan. They may say, no, I have insurance through
Yeah.
my spouse. I don't need insurance.
Yeah.
We don't know. We can't, and that's something we can really
Right.
require, obviously. So, so that's looking at what, 47,000, 48,000. As compared, this proposal came in at 69 and change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, it's something obviously we still have to look at.
Well, we should try to get this work done so you can hire somebody.
Yeah, we need
know
somebody
what's
before
going on.
July 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at, we gotta look at the hours, or we're gonna have to have a compromise or something. I'm not spending almost $50,000 to hire a person.
What do you mean by looking at hours frame?
Well, I wanna look at the hours. See, we're saying a full-time position is 30 hours, because that's what we pay.
That's what we pay now, yeah, it's
Okay.
30 hours.
Well, maybe we look at 25, or maybe we look at 20, I don't know. I wanna have that discussion. We're coming into, budgetary issues are gonna be somewhat of a, actually, I don't know what, I don't know what's coming.
We're struggling to get it all done with 30 hours
Yeah,
right now.
Jay-
Right.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
remember what Jay just said, he's
Yeah,
he's
I
having
hear
a tough
that.
time.
I hear that. I think we gotta be more creative, and we look at these things. That's why I wanted the Janitronics quote.
What was that?
69.
I think 69,000.
Change.
70,000.
Why don't you say 70?
Yeah,
70.
But it included that floor scrubber.
Yes.
yeah. Ally?
I kind of look at this a little bit differently.
Okay.
I thought it was quite, we only got one proposal, of course,
Mhm.
and there's other people out there. I was kind of curious what we were gonna do with JAG, because as I see it, I see what was proposed for them to do fits every cleaning need that should be done throughout the day and evening. That's
Okay.
how I see it. I remember a parent coming and saying there was a safety concern. These groups usually they could come at 10 o'clock at night. They don't have to be here at 3 when people are here. That's the beauty of contracting. I see it as an Act 46 discussion matter we have. Whether we want to do it or not, I don't know, but it would be consolidating to the district. I also see we have a $105,000 budget right now. This would be just shy of $70,000, which is negotiable. After you take away from the budget, leave in, because I read in the proposal, the only thing we needed was garbage bags, because they replenished toilet tissue, hand soap, and towels.
They're told they do not do those.
Okay, well, so that's not there, so we have a few supplies. But I thought I saw it as you were extending a value for investment as a $30,000 savings. So that's it needs to be discussed, but that's what I'm seeing.
Well, between the two of them now, we're spending 22, whatever, 140, 150?
105, I think, is what she's saying.
102,975 is what would be after, well, I took out some of the supplies and added a little. Add a little bit to the maintenance and the snow plowing and.
But this doesn't take into consideration that some kid goes in the bathroom and wipes feces on the door.
I didn't have any
You have to
idea
shut the
how that,
bathroom down.
I figured that, you had this is a wonderful, it covers it all. I assume that in going through that there's a few things but I didn't know how they were gonna fill them in, but maybe
Well, that's why I have
Jay,
the
I
custodian.
don't know.
That's why I have the custodial position next for discussion, so anyway, Dave.
Well, I just gave you my
Yeah,
discussion.
no,
on that.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Maybe this will be covered in that, but is there a suggestion, or did we ask, was the scope of the work going to alleviate Jay or anyone else of responsibilities, or just take on the work that was being done by the janitor?
Well, we'd asked
Yes
for.
to the latter.
We had asked for the Janitronics quote, and I forget who mentioned it, but I said, yeah, that's a good idea. This lady in the back, and I'm sorry I don't know your name, but you had said.
Stacy Crawford.
Thank you. And you had mentioned about the safety, so I said, well, we're not going to let anybody in here. It's not going to be safe. But anyway, the custodial position, knowing that 30 hours is full time, we need to look at. If I was going to cut anywhere in a budget, that would be where I would cut. It doesn't really have to do with kids as far as.
I would disagree with that because
Well-
you're talking about the safety and the cleanliness of the building every night, and you can't
No,
really
I
clean
know that.
a bathroom at 2:30 and the kids are going to use it until 3 and then let it sit all night.
No, I got you. I get that. But my point is, for the sake of argument, instead of having to fund benefits, health insurance, because it's going up, and it's going to go up a lot more than it is right now. We need to find some ways to cut something. We just can't. We can't be an employment agency, and that's what we
It takes so many people to run the building. You know,
I get
right?
that. I get that. But you still have to look at other things where we can maybe cut back on here a couple of hours to save the district some money, and because we're going to have more people come before the boards. They want to, fund something for the kids or something. I don't have a problem doing that, but we keep funding, and then we don't cut back on anything else. Eventually, your budget's out of control, and if that's a place where we can look at and cut some time, then I'd be willing to do that. I'm talking 25 hours. Now you sure can get the same stuff done in 25 hours than versus 30. You're talking 5 hours.
I don't necessarily agree with you there, Karen, but.
Well, I've had to run enough businesses, and I know.
I guess in support of Jay,
Go ahead.
I guess because I don't know, maybe I look through everything. This covered summer services. This covered, and I don't know anything about this operation. I did have a cleaning business at one time, so I know how it works. They come in with a crew, they do what you ask, you're contracted for, and you hold them to task that it's done. This has stripping, this has wiping the walls, this has the everyday, daily cleaning duties that I'm sure Jay does some throughout the day.
And I'm not
Maybe it would
knocking
be,
Jay either, so.
absolutely not, absolutely not.
The only thing they
I was
don't do is get on
surprised.
ladders.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
The only thing they don't get on is ladders, so whatever they reach
And
out
change
the
light
floor.
bulbs.
I can't understand how they're gonna clean out your, maybe your sucking out the ventilation, maybe their floor level, but anyways, maybe it would be helpful to me, because I'm the only one looking in this direction, we must have a job description for Jay
Yeah.
and the things
Yeah.
that, because maybe I'm not understanding, because I know that he probably fixes a lock and changes light bulbs and
Well, there's a
changes
lot- I'm sure
doors and
there's
does a lot of
things that he's
things.
doing that we
Absolutely.
don't know, but.
But I just was wondering, that's only how I'm seeing it, it's only my opinion, I'm one of 5.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I just was gonna, I was
Dave,
wondering.
do you have anything else? Ed, Jeff?
Yes, I'd like
Go
to
ahead.
say, I just believe that if you can keep things local, these are your people, and you have to take care of it. Now,
Mhm.
if something happens during the day, you brought this up, something happens during the day, you gotta take care of it. You got somebody who's here, you can say, I need you to come in an extra hour. That's very important sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's, if you're gonna have everything run smoothly, you wanna have somebody that you can say, can you please do this for me? You know, and that makes things run smoother, just like you want the school to run smooth.
Yep, I agree.
And
I agree.
if you hire a local person, you got more control.
And the things we're not looking at is, if you need to hire somebody to change a light bulb, the electrician comes here for $50 an hour to change the light bulb. Then you have the crossing guard in the morning and the afternoon, which is covered by the custodians. And then we have the safety piece, which, like I said, somebody throws up in the bathroom, it has to be cleaned up. I don't want my kid walking through a bathroom and bum in it. So do you close the door and close one bathroom? If 2 boys' bathrooms are shut down, do we wait till 6 o'clock at night for them to get cleaned? You know, where do the kids go to the bathroom then? Those are things I think we have to start looking at, is those are the add-ons that they add up real quick.
Yeah.
I guess, Fran, I'll just
Sure, go
add,
ahead.
I think I agree with what you both just said. If we're simply comparing the cost of this plan to the cost of hiring a custodian, even with full benefits, as shocking as that sticker price is for hiring a person with full benefits, it's still less, quite a bit less. So unless there's something else unless there's another way to save money, it doesn't look like this is saving us money.
Right.
Even with a 30-hour person. I think a separate conversation we could have is, and you've started to raise that issue.
Yeah.
Is,
You're gonna start looking
but-
somewhere.
But I'm not seeing on the surface anyway an advantage to farming this out. But maybe I'm missing a nuance.
No,
but,
the only reason that basically was asked, because somebody had brought it up, well, you can have an outside agency come in.
Yeah.
I said, okay, that's a good idea. And now we know. So now we have that. Now the discussion goes to further. Maybe we have to sit down with Jeff and superintendent and we figure something out. But we really need to get to, I'll do anything for kids. But we need to take care of what's gonna come down the pike. And we need to be ready for it, and you need to have an out somewhere. And we have all new staffing just about. I think we only have one, yeah, I'll get to you in a sec. We have one senior staff member left, so you're not gonna have that breakage as far as salaries and stuff. So that stuff's gone. So now we're gonna go the other way. So you don't wanna back yourself into a corner to where we well, maybe we don't want music, maybe we don't want I don't want to get there, I don't want to do that. So if there's other places that we can do ahead of time, then that's the way I'd like to go. Yes?
I guess I'm just wondering why you sound so gung-ho for this when they're not gonna do more than what someone you hire to do is going to do because you just don't wanna pay insurance. That's what it sounds like to me, you just don't wanna pay insurance, cause that's what the difference is. I mean, you wanna pay $65,000.
No, that's, I don't wanna pay that either.
You know what I mean? So.
No, I think what he's saying, Stacy, is he'd rather have our current person where we hire.
I'd rather
people down
have
to
a
25
current
hours.
person, that's what I'm saying.
Right, and I agree with Jeff, I don't know if 25 hours is enough, but I wouldn't not put it out there. I mean, if you wanna have someone that's steady and reliable and local, I don't think that these are your people.
They're flexible.
I hear you.
And the other concern I have is 25 hours at $12.29 an hour. I'm not sure who we're gonna find.
I don't know, there's a lot of people out there with no work, no jobs.
Well, that's 25 or 30. I mean, does it make?
No, if we cut it to 25.
If you don't offer the benefits, you mean? If you're just offering.
Just the salaries, $12.26 an hour, $12.29 an hour.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I don't
something we
know
talk
either.
about. But anyway, Holly?
Just one, I apparently am the only one that scoured through that. I'm not saying this is the way to go, but these companies, they pay their own benefits, they pay their own taxes. So in this budget, this gets reduced. We don't have the liabilities. They're picking up the summer. I'm seeing it as we're elected to look at children and value for investment. That's all I'm trying to look at.
Okay.
Well, then I wanted to ask you is on a Friday night after a school dance, who picks up? Do we wait till-
I didn't give this in all the directives. I mean, it covers it all. I
Okay.
didn't know the plan. I thought we'd be brought it tonight. I thought this is what he wanted.
That's what they put together, Holly. That's that. We tell them what we need done, and they.
Yeah, you walked around and did your thought and what goes.
Okay.
So I guess just for me,
Yeah. Okay.
clarify this job descriptions.
Sarah?
If you're trying to save money and you don't, benefits is an added cost, why wouldn't you look for 2 people that could do part-time work? And then you would have the amount of hours you need without benefits, and you would have even more flexibility with
No,
additional
this is
people.
why we're getting here. This is why we're having this discussion. And I think we almost beat this one to death between Janitronics and the custodial position. So I want to kind of get to, if there's anybody else on the custodial part, anybody?
I just like to add, flexibility is huge when you have all this after-school stuff that we are doing more of now than we ever have with
I'm
math
keep-
night and literacy night and science night and
Keeping
dances.
that in mind.
I mean, that's a huge part, having someone local here. And kids to say hi to and know them by name and say hello to them in the hall. Custodians are a huge part of kids' life. I mean, it might sound funny, but it really is. I know tons of kids who think Jay is the best thing in the world.
We
When
haven't
Jack
forgotten-
was here, Jack was the best
Yeah,
thing
we
in the
haven't
world.
forgotten Jack there.
So, I mean, I think
And
local is a
Don't
big.
forget, Gary crosses them in the afternoon
Yeah.
and Jay crosses them in the morning,
Okay.
so that's
Well, we'll look at it a
important as
little bit
well.
closer.
So I'm hearing most of the excess is from 3 on? They're
Here he
talking-
comes, what, at 1:30?
Yes.
He comes at 1:30.
And Jay leaves at 1:30?
Okay.
Okay.
But anyway,
I'm
okay.
just,
I got a couple more
I'm just
facilities.
crunching.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying, it's not just.
Okay. Jeff has a little bit more.
So in May, I should have some RFPs for the roof and the parking lot. I'll have some more quotes for the field. We only have 3 quotes. Jay has a couple more out there that should be coming in for the field that we talked about. So I'll have all those prepared for next meeting.
Good.
Something to think about for the roof, though. We already had Secord check the roof out, do the specs for us, so we can get the quotes.
Yeah.
But the roof vents are something that
Okay.
came up.
Right.
And we have a couple options. We can continue with the roof vents that we have and work around them. We can get rid of them and push the venting through the old boiler room. And that way
Okay.
we don't have any more holes in the roof, any more extra holes. We can budget that it's $30,000 roughly, he said. We can budget that for next year. And, just redo the roofs this summer like we planned. But something to think about in the future.
Now, just a question I have, on the roof, we're gonna build that on top of the old roof?
Yeah.
And we're gonna put pockets in there or for venting or something for air, is that it, or is it gonna be solid?
It'll be solid. They're gonna put.
Solid, okay.
I think it's either 6 or 8 inches of insulation right over that roof.
Oh, okay, all right.
But the question was, if we do the ventilation project, we would either get rid of the roof vents we have now because they don't work properly, they're just old.
Okay.
But if we keep them, they've got to remove them and lift them higher to put the new roof on. Or we can just, or we can go with a new ventilation system, budget it next year for 30,000, and just get rid of them because it doesn't work now anyways.
Why doesn't it work? What's not
It's
working?
the motors, they vibrate the whole building, the whole building just shakes. They're so old and, but they put a unit in, it would probably be in the old boiler room, that pick out, because right now you're not able to draw in fresh air from the outside, and the state wants you to be able to recirculate your air. And so we probably would be able to use the same ductwork that's in the building, but we just have to upgrade the, you'd probably have one big unit on the outside wall in the back that would pick up all your bathrooms and your classrooms. So,
Go ahead.
if you wanted to think about doing it next year, we would just get rid of the roof mounts this year, so when they do the roof, they just go right over it. So there's nothing on the roof but 4 sewage drains, because the chimney would come down, and there would be nothing up there.
We can talk more about that, then. That's good. Okay.
So last thing is, with the winter that we've had, as you all know, it's pretty light winter. We're getting out the earliest I've ever think we've gotten out of school. I think we're going to finish up on the 13th of this year. That gives Jay a few extra weeks at the end of this school year, or the end of this fiscal year, to get the windows started. If not completed, I don't know, at that time that he could do that. It would require that we purchase the windows this year. If we wanted to dip into that reserve or that fuel money that we saved. He could get the windows here. He can even texture 111 now, get it all painted, ready to go, and then once the kids are out of here, he can start that window project and get a head start on it and leave more time in the summer for some of the other things he needs to get done. But we budgeted roughly $15,000 for the windows.
Is that enough for those windows?
I think I need around 11,000 for the windows.
Okay.
And then another, the rest is the texture 111 and everything else, the other materials.
Okay.
Yeah, and paint. So.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Barry.
If you're trying to save money, you could cut down the heat in here when you have meetings.
Thank you for that.
It's not even on. It's not even on.
It's not on.
It's not even on.
Go down to the room down here and you'll freeze at the same time.
Or down there.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, all set, Jeff.
Is that something the board is willing to think about, though?
Yeah.
The windows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, let's, yeah.
We can, anything you want to try to get from last, you got money left over in the budget, you want to, if you can
Yeah,
use
we
it
got
up.
30-some thousand in fuel.
Yep.
We're having trouble getting it low enough now just to top off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've only, normally we take 3 loads a year, we've only taken 1 so far.
Yeah.
That's why they're running the heat.
Yeah, they'll only top off at a certain level. We have to get it down to a certain level before we even top it off. So
Yeah.
if the board will give us that option, we'd love to be able to move that money. And get
Yeah,
those
let's,
windows.
I think, I wanna have discussion about where we're gonna get that money, but we can do that after. I don't wanna do it right now, have that discussion right now, because we still got a few other things to do. But we'll do it in the very near future.
Okay,
So-
we're running out of time though.
Yeah, I get you.
It'll be May next month.
I'll be here on your door tomorrow. But anyway, okay, the
Call and
math.
make an appointment first. Our new policy.
Sign in, friend, sign in.
I will sign it and I will ring the buzzer. So, jeez. Okay, the math position, Donna?
I didn't put that on there. I
You
don't-
did, no, I did.
Oh.
I did, and I had talked to you before at Central, so
Yes.
you wanna give just a,
Well, Jeff
Or
can
Jeff
talk
can.
about the
Yeah, either
process
or.
of where he
Okay.
is with
So
that.
we
He
are-
has a
Yep.
plan.
The position's been posted on School Springs. It's posted till Friday. It's the closest posting on Friday. We currently have 9 applicants, I believe, last time I checked. The interview team consists of myself, Pat Conway, who's our district math coach. We have a first grade teacher, Shannon Tinkin, and a third grade teacher, Veronica Burak, who's the head of our math committee, our school math committee, and is on the district math committee as well. And we'll sit down Friday afternoon, look at all the applications, and choose 3 to 4 that we feel are the top ones that we want to interview. We'll probably do it the week after break, and I plan on bringing a nomination forward in May.
okay.
I would just say it sounds like a really good team, and I'm glad that you're inviting Pat Conway, our math coach, because she has really good
Yeah.
conceptual knowledge, and I've been at interviews with her. She actually gives the candidates little problems and asks how they'll solve that, and
Good.
so she really digs into their math knowledge. So it's excellent. Good plan.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Just a question about the process with School Spring. Does that typically reach the entire country?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the go-to place now for teaching educational jobs. Yep. And it's also posted on the SU website. And then there's a link to the School Spring application site if they choose to. And sometimes every once in a while people see it at central office, and I'll get a paper copy, but I haven't gotten any paper copies of this one.
You said, so the application came to you?
The I have a special login at School Spring, and then I can see everybody that's applied and all their information.
I thought that with the hiring process, it goes through human resources before.
We can all see that.
And it comes down after you've gone through
No,
and.
we don't go through. Jeff would, people would.
They do the posting for me with the job description and everything, and then I'm the one who does the
Go ahead, I'm just curious now for myself.
And this should
Go ahead,
principal, he puts forth, if they approve by human resources approves, yes, they have the right endorsement.
Yep.
And then it goes.
And they're interviewed by the superintendent.
To the
And so
superintendent,
we check
and then
the resumes and, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And we do have access to the resumes. I can look at them. I have looked at the math candidates, and there are some good candidates in the pool. So it's a good system.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Jeff, you're next with your principal's report.
Okay.
And Donna, you're after him.
I might just interject
Go ahead.
one little thing that it can be a small part of my superintendent's report, is that we are offering some excellent coursework for teachers this summer, and one of the courses that we're hoping to offer is sort of a certificate program for specifically elementary intervention math teachers, which is a highly developed skill in understanding how young people understand math. And so we are working with Castleton to have an instructional program for teachers beginning this summer that will be like a 6-block of courses that will lead to a certificate for teaching intervention math skills.
Just a certificate, though.
Yeah. And it can build into a
Yep.
master's program.
Yes.
So just for your information.
Okay. Now you're ready.
A couple months ago, I was approached by a couple gentlemen from Comcast, the company Comcast, and every year they have a thing called Comcast Care Day, and they go to a local organization. They've gone to the Vets Home, they've gone to other schools around the area, and they pretty much donate a day of labor with some supplies to the organization. So they came to me asking if I'd be interested in them coming on April 30th to do some labor for us. So I sat down with Jay, and we talked with them and said what kind of projects can they do. They can do anything from painting to light carpentry to landscaping work to a number of different things. They have a lot of tools. They have a small budget to work with, but there are some things that they can buy. So they're going to come April 30th. Anybody, community is welcome to come and help out. I put it out to the staff as far as if they want to come and help out as well. They're going to paint the gym, the lower half of the gym. If you look at the gym now, it's two-tone color. They're going to paint the lower half of the gym. They're going to buy the paint for that. They're going to do some fluffing of our mulch up front because it gets kind of packed down in the wintertime. So they're going to bring a tiller in. They're going to do some of that. They're going to paint our wall, our kick wall out back, which hasn't been painted since it's been built, I think. What else do we have, Jay? I can't remember what else.
Gonna replace a piece of the playground equipment.
Oh, replace a piece of playground equipment for us.
Okay.
And some other light stuff, but all free of charge is something they do around the area every year around this time. So board members are welcome to come. They're going to be here all day, or as long as they need to be. I'll be here, and a few staff members I'm sure will be here also. We had our spaghetti dinner a couple weeks ago by the 6th grade. Another success from all accounts. It was pretty busy all night long. I was serving spaghetti and sauce for a few hours. The auction was phenomenal this year. I think that was the big draw as far as the fundraising. There was more things this year than I think I've ever seen. And they raised quite a bit of money in that, but it was another great community event and well attended. I want to thank all the sponsors that gave us gifts for the auction, as well as some of the supplies they gave us for the spaghetti dinner itself. We got a lot of donations from different organizations, and I thank everybody for that. And we also had last night, it's not on the agenda, but I wanted to mention, last night we had our very first literacy night, which was, we've had our math night for 3 years now. We decided to have a literacy night this year. Our school ELA team designed it and organized it, and what they did is they had community members. We had a state trooper, a local policeman come and read some stories about policemen. We had our local football coach and baseball coach come in and read some sports stories. We had 2 local nurses come in and read some stories about being a nurse. And then the last one was firemen. We had Jay as a fireman, and we had Jerry Madison, a former parent here, as the fire. We had Smokey the Bear here. And so kids went to one of the rooms. They heard a few stories. We had some popcorns. Every child walked away with a free book at the end of the night. All thanks to the CFP grant. I want to thank Donna for that. It was a huge success. I think we had close to 100 students here, mostly the younger kids, which makes sense. But it was a great success for our first time. A lot of parents were very happy with the evening and had a good time, and the kids had a blast meeting, a real policeman or a real fireman. So it's a tradition we plan on continuing as an annual event now.
I'd love to come next time.
Okay.
Invite me, I'll read.
I will. Okay. Okay.
I could be either assistant superintendent or a medical technologist, a laboratory manager. They love to hear about blood.
Yeah.
So, I could do that for you.
Okay. Yeah, we want to change it up for next year, but we'll definitely invite you. Yeah. It was a fun night. It was a lot of fun.
Good.
Yep.
Okay, Donna?
Oh, you're going to give me a turn, Frank?
You're up, yep.
Well, thank you, and I enjoyed being here with you tonight, so I'm glad I could join you at your meeting. And I just wanted to share a little bit of good news about some of the work that we're doing. I mentioned the math course, but we are offering several other courses through Castleton. We've really made a consistent effort to bring professional development to our supervisory union, to all the schools, to make things available here. So we are also offering a course in writing. It's going to be a 5-day course with Bill Atwood. It's very exciting to continue the work he has been doing with the schools, but a more intensive instructional course for teachers to learn to teach writing. We're also doing one on proficiency-based learning. The middle school and the high school are both moving toward their personalized learning plan and proficiency-based graduation requirements. And that shift from regular classroom grading to these new proficiency standards is quite a jump. So we're offering a course here for teachers, and that one I believe is full. So it was quite a big sign-up. And I just wanted to commend all of the teams that have been working in all of the schools with Laura Boudreau and Pat Conway and Melissa Senecal to align our curriculums. Just today, Dave, you'd like this one. We put online all of the physical science units that they have been developing as teams across all grade levels to implement the next generation science standards. So we're doing one specific unit strand a year. They're very comprehensive, but gradually to implement the science content standards, we're gradually bringing that to the awareness of all the teachers. And then the representatives from each building that built these units can go back to their buildings and help the teachers learn how to instruct science. So I loved hearing Kathy's demonstration tonight, and that they're doing the inquiry model, which is a huge part of our new science standard. So it's very exciting. We've also, I just wanted to pass this out. This is just a little clip from our svsu.org website, where we list all of the curriculums, and they've all been uploaded to the website. You just go into the tab that says departments and go into curriculum instruction and assessment, and you can find these all listed. So go have a look, because it's so impressive.
It is.
We have the math, ELA, science is getting built with facilitated instruction here, as well as the arts and phys ed have just been loaded in this year because they are new, and we're working on social studies and some of the others that have been kind of late to be adopted by our state. But the work is comprehensive and so so exciting and available for everyone to see. So please, I just wanted to bring that to your attention tonight.
Thank you. All set?
Yep.
Okay. For my report, I had all kinds of things I want to talk about Act 46 and engage Jeff in that, but I think what I want to do instead, Arlington's having a Act 46 meeting on April 27th in the MAC Performing Arts Center at 6:30. And reason why I think we should attend that meeting, only for the simple reason they're having a consultant, which would better show us maybe what our options would be or what Arlington's going to do, so we can make better decisions and where we're headed and what we want to do. So I guess with that, unless anybody else has anything about Act 46, I know.
What time was that?
6:30.
What day was it?
It is on April 27th. I think that's a.
SVSU meeting.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So you can't go.
Well, maybe some of us will
Oh,
be
well.
absent.
That's right.
Oh, we could have some people go for us. That could be too.
I don't know, it's
And, just for the Act 46 where we're at, we finished with all the towns or all the districts now. The goal is, when the next meeting is scheduled, hopefully to have somebody come down from the state. And we'd like to open that up to the boards. We're gonna try to get the middle school room, I think, as we talked about. Just so, the board members can have their input on it, in more community, and have somebody, hopefully from the state, come down and answer questions.
Well, that's what this guy is.
Well, he did it for Arlington already.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
is the Arlington presentation is when they met with the state consultant. They just came up with a plan and a proposal, and they're going to report back what their initial proposal is.
Yeah. We may be able to pick some options from that
Yes.
though too. So that would,
Yeah.
benefit us, I think.
And I believe there's an event, and I think it's on the 25th of April, that the Act 46 committee is invited to in Brattleboro, yes. That is going to be a really focused, individual visit with someone from the state, like a 90-minute appointment that is made for the SVSU Act 46 committee to talk about the different options and what is possible.
Okay, anybody got anything else?
Have we considered getting a consultant to advise the district on the opportunities that Act 46 presents to us, quite apart from the SVU?
We haven't talked about it. I think that's something, as a board, we need to look at. We're part of the SCSU study committee, which they give you money to bring a consultant, look at legal fees, or build your proposal for the district, or for the whole supervisor unit. From my understanding, you can contact somebody from the state, and they come down and at least kind of talk you through the points. They're not going to really consult with you or give you legal fees, but they can help you get a better understanding of what's going on. I feel like I have a fair understanding. I've developed different structures of if Bennington goes, Shaftsbury goes with as a big district, one supervisor union. This was going to look like. If you partner up with all the smaller districts, Woodford, North Bennington, Pownell, these are what it could look like. So I've kind of drawn what I think is what they're asking me to do, but I'm not an expert. I could sit here and say we could partner with all the North Bennington, Pownell, Woodford district, and we have no high school, so you get tuition in. But the pros and cons of tuition in high school is, even if you tuition in, you gotta fill a application tuition in. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go to MAU, Arlington, Burn. But, in each one, have pros and cons. If you wanna go to Burn, you're gonna have to come up with an extra X number of dollars as well. So, I've kind of drawn up drafts in my head what it looks like, but it would be nice if you consulted down here too.
Well, my concern is that while it's useful to draw on the resources that the union might present to us, right? When the consultant is working for you
Yes.
as a district, he's gonna have our interests in the forefront. That's one of my concerns.
Did you say one time, Fran, that the problem was there wasn't that many consultants available?
That's right, yeah, that is true. And that's one of the reasons I want to make this meeting up there, because that is a consultant from the state. But it's my understanding, and I think Jim said this at a previous meeting, you can become part, you can have a committee and you can get some grant money out there. And I think it's, $5,000. And you can do that, but then if if there's another district that's doing grant funds, you can't serve on two, you can only do one. So this is why this isn't going to cost us anything to go to. And there may be some options for Shaftsbury, I don't know that. But if we at least look at them, and then when it comes time, and I think we got to do something by 2017, Larry? I think that's what the year is.
Yes.
Pretty sure. Every day. Yeah, so July 1 of 2017, so.
And and it's, now enough districts have done it too. So if you start looking at other districts who've drawn up these spreadsheets of, if we're a single school, we partner with school B, we partner with school A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I mean, some of them come up with 7, 8 different options, and it's just figuring out what they have to present to the town to vote on.
Yeah, to some extent though, there's a first mover advantage, right? In the sense that as other towns around southwestern Vermont make their decisions, that may limit the opportunities that our district has. So my only point is that, is that there should be a sense of urgency around this issue if it's going to be addressed at all.
Right.
I'll say that I tend to agree, and that urgency doesn't seem to be something that I get a strong sense of when we have these conversations. And we have talked specifically about trying to find somebody to work with us, and I don't know if it's a state-provided consultant or if it's a professional who has enough understanding that you are starting to put together, that we're all starting to put together, that somebody who really gets it and can facilitate a process that would begin, I think, with what do we want for our district? What are the what are the goals? What are our values? And then say, okay, well, here are the possible options for alignment, and there are lots of them. And how would they match with our goals? I mean, this is a big. What I've just said in 45 seconds is a pretty big process.
Oh, yeah.
And it will take, from the time we actually find a person, some time to do all that.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we have to consider is, we are locked in with MAU, and that also limits your options, I think. Which is, to become a K through 12 district, or keep the school as a K through 6 and tuition in, 7 through 12, we need to be out of MAU.
So I guess my question then is, what does it take so that we're not sitting here 3 months from now saying, yeah, we should really get a consultant? What do we need to do to have something move forward? And maybe that something is, boy, there just isn't anybody, but
Somebody's contact state.
Well, that's.
I can do it as a clerk and.
Yeah, I've asked the superintendent about that, and in fact, I wanted to talk to him today. We had a meeting at Central, but I couldn't quite get to him. But Donna, you can mention that to him. What actually can we do at this point?
I think as a board, as a district, we can contact ourselves.
Well, you can.
Yes, if you want to hire someone, you would need to go out independently and find someone on your own. I would say that as different districts have been working on this, and several took it to a vote just a week or two ago, I believe, and on the Vermont Agency of Education website, there's an Act 46 page, and there is a wealth of information there about the possibilities for the different structures. There are frequently asked questions about how would the voting work, or what districts can we align with, and there are even, you just have to keep scrolling down on that page, because there are also the plans that other districts have put together. And some of those models are very interesting, especially a little bit north of you here, that they actually have voted. But you could read through those, because everyone's application follows the same, different protocol, the different categories of what you have to address in your application, and read through what they have answered and what they have found to work for them, because it's different for everyone, but it jogs your thinking about what are the possibilities.
Okay. Barry?
Well, I think it would be useful to see what other towns have done, but this is a unique town. I mean, every town is unique.
Every town is unique.
And every town has their own problems and goals, and so I don't think that I think that we really need to get to the source and kind of drill down to how difficult is the process of engaging a consultant, and how long does it take? I was pleased when I went to the meeting in North Bennington last week that they decided not to disband the committee, because I mean that seems like you're just putting your head in the sand.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to see that happen at Shaftsbury.
No, we're gonna check our options.
I'll just move then, if we, for the board, ask Jeff to do some follow-up work and come back to us next month with anything you can in terms of possible names and more information that can move us ahead. And while continuing to work, of course, with the SU committee.
I'd just mention there are some community groups that are getting together too, through Bennington College, and just sort of with all different community interests, including people from schools, including people from Bennington College, just to look at, like you're saying, what are the possibilities, because it's so complex, but what can our whole community do to build something that is improving what we're doing.
Okay. Anybody else, anything else? Okay.
Other?
Ally?
Sorry,
No.
you need to start putting a task list on so that I don't pick up all my pieces that I miss.
I did have
I was at another meeting, and I know we have asked for complete staff lists over and over. I don't know if you want me to give you one of these. These are from the 3 Bennington elementary schools. I don't know if they came from they didn't come from Human Resources. I asked that last night. They're all inclusive, and I would like to have one of those for the board's reference.
Didn't I give you those last year?
This is what we have now that's on your website.
Okay.
We have actually 5 different lists.
I personally gave you one last year.
And it.
Are you asking me to change the
It
one on
has
the website?
missing, my request is that we get a all-inclusive staff list of Shaftsbury. That was my request.
On the website or on the
Nope,
board?
in hand.
I gave you that
This-
last year.
Is that an updated list, or I'm
This
just?
is from this year, it's done
Okay.
yearly.
Okay.
This is it has everything from maintenance to paras to special education to the principal to who's the acting.
You're at that meeting frame, I gave it to her.
Yeah, I thought we did
This
get
is
one,
this
but-
year, this was from
This-
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
This
okay.
is moving forward.
Okay. We'll just
Okay.
check it and.
Is that from BSD, did you say?
Yep, but
It's
it
not
was.
your list.
No, it's not no.
Okay.
I'll bring it next month.
Well, maybe we can get it before then.
I'll put it in the packet for next month.
So this is staff list. How are we aspect testing? Is that done? Are we
We're
through
not,
with that?
the window is till the end of May. We chose to go to the last week of May so that we have
More
as much
time?
instructional time as possible.
Let's see, staff list. The kindergarten, is our teacher out now?
Yes, she's on the.
And I was curious, it's a small assignment, I know, but we didn't see a nomination.
Yeah, I'll see one.
And
This is a long
is
trip.
it because it came through the teachers, it's a teacher through the teachers?
It's a long-term substitute.
So we don't have to, I'm just asking because, again, I have long-term substitute nominations, and I just want to be sure that moving forward. So however what happens at the end of the year? I assume as our kindergarten teachers are coming back?
That's
Iffy? You don't know?
I can't
But if
answer
she
that.
does, what happens? Well, I was curious.
She
of-
does. She still has her position.
I know that our but what happened? Did we hire this?
No, she's she's just getting a
Okay.
substitute. She's just a sub.
Okay.
She's just here for every day.
So ask,
I'm
on
sorry.
the very last
I don't
day,
mean
so
that. Just a sub. She's a sub.
An
It's gonna be-
important sub.
Yes.
Yep.
She's a very important.
Yep. I have no doubt. I just was wondering, because we never heard. We never did committees, and I
That's
hear
gonna be done, I'm gonna email everybody and that's gonna get done.
And let's see, my last one. Oh, I just want to go back to the hiring process. You have, I knew that I saw it. Everything runs through the personnel office. So it's on page 5.1 of this wonderful hiring manual that we have. And the last thing is, I just want to, I was going to do it with the fundraising talk and things, but we have had we've had use of this, I'll just do it this way. We have a policy number 1090, use of school facilities. We have a policy 6160, animals in school. I'm just curious, we had an event, and how did that work? How did we benefit from, did we, income to outflow, where did we land on that one?
I don't know what event you're talking about, Holly. I don't know what.
Tuesday nights or maybe it's not
Are
going
talking
on
about the
anymore?
dog training
The
course.
dog training.
Mhm.
It's a community school. It's not inflow outflow. We don't necessarily charge for. It's not necessary for us to charge. I mean, a lot of people use this building. Maya uses this building for basketball.
Absolutely, but in the use of the school, it's very, I understand what you're saying. There's use of the school, school-related, town meetings, adult education, community groups and organizations, and then they have individuals. But there's the policy in place has things to put in place to be followed.
They filled out a building use form. They had the proper insurance, which is the biggest thing that we look for. They had all those pieces in place to use the facility.
And how much, for so you must have covered the rental fee?
We don't require a rental fee. We don't have to require a rental fee.
We'll talk about that.
Usually, Holly, if people are making money from using the buildings,
Mhm.
then they can be charged rent. But
Absolutely.
Or if there's
Correct.
extraordinary cleaning up or something like that.
Right,
then
if you need to hire a janitor
Yeah.
to cover the hours that they're here, then there's a fee.
Yeah, I think there was like $20, it used to be, I don't know what it is now, but it used to be like $20 fee.
More
or-
than that for a janitor to
Right,
cover
right,
the
I'm
hours.
just saying.
Right.
Right, okay.
That's why we try to keep everything between.
I'll finish it after.
Okay, so you're all set as of, okay.
I think so.
Anybody else?
Just one thing,
Yeah.
we're at with the soccer field. I know we talked about it, we can try to do that this year.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about where we're gonna get the money out of, I think, number one, but I think we said we were gonna try to do that this
Yeah, I'll
summer.
have a couple more quotes.
Right, and he's getting more quotes,
Two more
so,
quotes. Yeah.
yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll have a bunch of quotes for you for next month.
Okay. Our
Hang on,
next,
Fran, hang on, I know I
Okay.
had one more.
all right,
We gotta find my, we discussed getting key fobs, the keys changed?
Oh,
How
yeah.
are we at that process?
Oh,
Have we changed them?
I'm sorry, I can get those quotes also, since we already have all the specs made up.
right.
So,
I can have those quotes for next month also.
Yeah, we were talking about rekeying the building and the
because they were
fobs.
50
I think
years
that's all we
and
wanted to do at
50
this
years
point.
old or something?
Unless
The
you're,
presentation that
Yes, he came,
Eric
Yeah.
was in that quote
yes.
yes,
that Eric gave us.
okay,
So I think the board got that quote.
They did.
yeah, we did, yeah,
Yeah.
no, we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I thought that we had move forward
Well, I think it
with
was
the
part of
keys.
your security.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had talked about cutting a hole in here and having a whole different entranceway and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
think we wanna do that at this point, but I think if we did rekey the building and had the fobs as a starter, then that's what we do.
So then I need some direction of what you want quotes for next month, because I was gonna get quotes for all the specs that have been drawn up for our security upgrades.
You can get them all then, if you're gonna do them all.
If you want, I
do
mean,
them all.
what do you guys wanna do this year? It's the board's
Well,
choice.
I thought the man came and told us that it was X amount of dollars per key.
Well, we had a couple different quotes.
Right.
There was
but
a
we
man
didn't-
that came and,
Yep.
There was a-
and he gave a quote,
Yep.
I believe.
From Adams Lock, he gave a quote.
Yes.
There's also in the same quote what it costs to upgrade the front door to
Right.
have a re-entry done. So the question, the board needs, and that's where we approved the $70,000.
75,
75
yeah.
security upgrade.
Yeah.
And I think we actually got 2 quotes on the fobs, because,
Yeah, 2 quotes.
Secor, did Secor do fobs?
But that wasn't for everything that,
No, it was,
Adam's Lock was gonna
no,
do.
not
That was
everything,
only-
but it was similar, but not everything, yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to look back,
So I'll
'cause I
take care
thought
of
we
getting
broke it down.
everybody
It was
to
inside
sign up
and
for
outside.
committees.
Yes.
Keys, or whatever they,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. And our next meeting is May 11th. And is there any other? Okay? Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn. It's Jeff and Dave seconded, or Ed, take your pick. Thank you, I'm sorry the meeting was so long, but we had quite a bit of things on the agenda.